Forget the fragrance snobs, I went straight to the people. I asked 1,000 people for the best fragrances on the planet. He got the whole world in his hands, he got the whole world. And today, I'm putting the top picks on the list, but the #1 fragrance was totally unexpected. First is Prada Luna Rosa Black. This takes that clean powderiness that Prada is known for and makes it sultry. And there's something about this fragrance that makes it a little intoxicating. From the name to the presentation, this fragrance tells you everything that this one's about. I'm not totally surprised this one's on the list because people go crazy for it. Next up, we got an underrated fragrance from Valentino, and this is Valentino Uomo Born in Roma. Now, traditionally, when we're talking about Valentino fragrances, the most popular one happens to be Valentino Uomo Intense. But Born in Roma takes a totally different approach. Now, I'll start by saying that this one isn't super unique. It does have some tie-backs and nuances to Rabanne's Invictus, but this one does its own thing. Now, personally, I don't think that this one gets a ton of hype because when you look at the similar fragrances with Invictus and Versace Hawas, there are some that are a little bit cheaper. Plus, this one is made for the younger crowd. It's sweet, it's moderate, it's fresh, but it still maintains that understated Valentino charm. Moving on, we got Givenchy Pi, and this is a fragrance I actually wore back in high school. In thinking back on things, this one might have been too mature. I mean, at its core, it's a gourmand fragrance and it's heavy on the vanilla, benzoin, and amber. There's also some not so subtle sweet facets about the scent, but that stated, it's not as sweet as fragrances on the market today. Originally, this fragrance dropped while I was in middle school, and the fragrance profiles were totally different back then. But the principles on when to wear this fragrance remain the same. Heavy on amber, tonka, benzoin, well, fall and winter. But for me, I wore this one in the dead of summer in Florida, so I didn't know what I was doing. Nonetheless, it's a good, long-lasting fragrance, and I was surprised to see it on the list. Next up from Initio, we got Paragon. And anytime I say that, it sounds like a dinosaur. But anyway, smelling this fragrance, you get exactly what you would expect from Initio. Well-blended, well-crafted fragrances that perform. Paragon features lavender, sage, plum, Palo Santo, but the Palo Santo here is not like Tom Ford's Ebon Fumé. This one takes a completely different twist, and I like it. Now, depending on what you want to spend, you could go with Paragon or you can go with Lattafa's Vintage Radio. At any rate, you're going to have a fragrance that smells fantastic. The mouth-watering plum here is something you want to try over and over. The sandalwood here is sweet, it's spicy, and still creamy. And despite how common the notes are in this fragrance, they're used in a unique way that makes this fragrance stand out. Let me tell you, I'm digging Paragon, and it also feels quite therapeutic. Moving on from Nishane, we got Wulong Cha, and I've had this fragrance in my collection for years, and honestly, I forgot how good it was. At times, this one has been compared to Silver Mountain Water, and I think it's really because of the tea note within the scent and that scent, but they don't quite jive the same. This is a nice spring and summer fragrance that feels clean and natural, and it doesn't come off as a fragrance that's super in your face, but I think it can be a bit deceiving. Despite its laid-back approach, this fragrance actually is long-lasting, which is great given its retail price point. Now, Wulong Cha, like most Nishane fragrances, hit the gray market and the prices plummet. Which is really a good thing for us because right around 100 to 120 bucks, you're gonna get a fragrance that's natural, clean, uplifting, and unique in less than the price of a normal designer scent, and you're gonna be smelling like the man when you walk through. Now watch me, watch me walk through. I done made a couple bags and I walk through. Now, unfortunately for us, this next fragrance doesn't suffer the same price dips. This one is Creed Spice and Wood. Now, Creed Spice and Wood is a fragrance that is not as popular as things like Green Irish Tweed, Silver Mountain Water, Virgin Island Water, and of course Aventus, but it turns out how this fragrance smells. Oh, this one stands on its own. Sometimes I spray spice and wood on just to flex. Like, I walk around the house like a walking flex emoji. Bruh. I mean, everything about this fragrance just screams luxury. Now, Creed is already an expensive brand, and this is an expensive fragrance for the house of Creed. Really, with this one, you got two sizes. You got the 75 ml for $640, and then you got the big decanter for about $1,200. Personally, I find Spice and Wood to be a bit of a masterpiece. It's pink berries and bergamot, orris, patchouli, clove. You also get this vetiver and musk, but there's some pepper here that really just feels like it flows throughout the entirety of the scent. Now, this is a bit more mature than some of the fragrances within the Creed lineup, so I would say that this isn't for everyone. Definitely a try before you buy. Next, we got a fragrance that I gave a 10 out of 10 from Maison Margiela. We have By the Fireplace. And despite its name, I wasn't surprised to see this one on the list. And to whoever wrote this one, you got good taste. If there was an official fragrance for Christmas, this will be it. It's smoky chestnuts, it's marshmallow, it's sweet vanilla, it's crackling woods, and something about it just feels nostalgic and sexy. Like, if we're talking cuddle buddy, this is it. In fact, I might just spray this on when I finish this video and give it the missus. By the Fireplace is the embodiment of cuffing season. So spray this on and go and be a ho, ho, ho. Next up, there's a fragrance from Kilian, but it's not the one you're thinking. This one is Apple Brandy on the Rocks. When it comes to the liqueur collection of fragrances, I think that this is the embodiment of what these fragrances were meant to be. I mean, the bottle looks like a shot glass, and this fragrance smells like you could get pulled over if you're wearing it. Now, the interesting part here is I don't wear this one a ton, but the missus really enjoys this scent when I do. With Apple Brandy on the Rocks, you're gonna get this realistic apple note. You get a double dose of liquor with this rum and brandy, and it's super unique. It's boozy, it's fresh, it's cozy, it's got some real staying power, and because it's so different, this one might garner you more attention than even Angel Share. Now, that said, it's not super versatile. It's not one I would say wear to the office, but if you got some time and in the right situation, this one's a go. And since we're talking about boozy fragrances, we might as well talk about Givenchy Gentleman Reserve Privé. Now, this is not as boozy as our last fragrance, but this is what happens when the perfume industry and the liquor industry clash. This is Irish whiskey in a glass. Right off the break, when you smell this fragrance, you know it's not like the other gentleman fragrances that they have to offer. Yes, it opens with some bergamot, and the iris that you traditionally get is there, but there's some chestnut and some whiskey absolute in the undertone here that gives this one some more body. This is a fragrance that you throw on when you want to go fishing for compliments. In addition to that, there's some amber and wood here, which just helps keep it in that luxury territory. All in all, I do find this fragrance to be refined and dairy, and it just happens to garner a ton of attention. So, if you're an introvert, stay away from this scent. Moving on, we got Tom Ford's Oud Min&eacute, and this scent is very, very different. It's like the fork in the middle of the road. It splits, but it comes back together in a way that happens to work. On the left side of this fragrance, it's oceanic with some mineral nuances. On the right side of this fragrance, it's woody, dark, and collectively, you get something that's slightly salty, smoky, and deep. This one takes the aquatic nature of what spring and summer has to offer and just adds some extra kick. It's so weird because something in this fragrance almost smells like seaweed and it reminds me of like crabs being brought from the bottom of the ocean. But it also smells good. Oddly. Really, when I think about it, this is what Tom Ford does best. It takes things that we wouldn't expect to like and puts them in a way that some people find to be the best fragrances on earth. Now, is that my specific take on this fragrance? No, but I could see why someone likes it so much. Moving on, we got Initio's Side Effect, and this one is Temptation in liquid form. It's boozy rum, you got some tobacco, and this creamy vanilla. When you spray this fragrance, it just feels potent. There's some cinnamon that sneaks into this fragrance and adds this spicy kick. And when you wear this fragrance, it feels warm, rich, and addictive. We've talked about the success rate of people wearing this fragrance in terms of garnering attention, being presented in a way that you would want to be received. Plus, it has that Tupac "All Eyes on Me" effect. Personally, I'd say Initio did a fantastic job with this scent. And one of the side effects of spraying this one just happens to be extreme attraction. So therefore, only wear this one when you're with your lady or if you're on the market for a new one. Moving on from Kilian, we have Black Phantom. This is a 10 out of 10 in my book. It's rum, it's sugarcane, it's coffee, it's cacao, it's powder, it's leather, it's earthy, and it is so damn good. This is one of those fragrances that you wear when the temperature dips and you kind of just sit in the house waiting and waiting and waiting for the temperature to hit the right spot. And then boom, you spray this one on all over the place. I was recently thinking about this because when this fragrance released and I had it in my collection, it's a fragrance that I talked about all the time. Today, it's almost like I gatekeep it. Think about Angel Share in my videos today. If you go back in the day, that was Black Phantom. This fragrance is boozy, mysterious, and it's one that I wore to the office. I would wear casually. I would wear with the missus. Well, this is one of those fragrances that you wear when you just want to have your way. It's a super unforgettable fragrance and it just works, especially in the cold weather. Now, you know that Kilian is known for that sexy, mysterious vibe in the fragrance. The note breakdown here just has it. It's a pirate feel. It has notes of cyanide, allegedly. So you're gonna kill a game when they spray this one on. Moving on to something a bit brighter, from Parfum de Marly, we have Greenley. And this fragrance is everything Black Phantom is not. This is like crisp green apple on a warm Sunday morning. It's fresh, it's sparkling, it's uplifting. But then you also get this cashmere wood and musk throughout the scent. Spraying this fragrance on, it feels youthful and refined, which is not necessarily a bad thing. This is also an extremely safe fragrance. So if you were looking for something to blind buy from the list, you could do it with this one. It's a universal compliment magnet, great for the office, great for casual wear. Rock this one to a football game or just when you want to uplift your spirits. This fragrance gets a ton of love online and I think it's well deserved. Now let me tell you, I was super surprised to see this next fragrance on the list because it's been quite some time since I've talked about it. From Bond, we have Wall Street. Now, I'm not sure why, but something about Wall Street reminds me of Unforgivable from Sean John. And no, it's not a one-for-one. They just smell similar, but also different. Wall Street is aquatic, it's ozonic, it's sharp, and similar to Wall Street itself, there's this air of sophistication and accomplishments with wearing this one. If you wanted to wear a fragrance that symbolizes closing the deal, well, this is it. This is the fragrance for the guy that's at the office at 9 and out playing golf by noon. This fragrance is slightly metallic and a little salty. It almost smells like you're sweating, but you're sweating in class. It has an overall exotic feel, and there's also this saffron and suede within the scent that helps change it up a bit. Man, I'm glad I saw this one on the list because I almost forgot I had it, and I gotta circle back around to this fragrance and get some extra wears in. I know we're in the fall now, but being here in Texas, I got a little extra time. Moving on, we got Black Saffron from the house of Byredo, and this one is luxurious. Now, as the name suggests, you have this saffron hits, but there's also some juniper and citrus along with some leather and some sweetie amber. As this fragrance dries down a bit, you begin to get some of this raspberry and suede within this fragrance that keeps this one a little bit more intriguing. Now it's weird because a name like Black Saffron, you would think that this one's dark, but the way Byredo fragrances are made, specifically this one, it's not dark at all. Let's just say it's dim. This fragrance actually smells like it deserves to be dressed up. You can definitely wear this fragrance to the office. You could definitely wear it for a special occasion, or if you just wanted to smell better than most, this is a fragrance that deserves some space in your collection. Moving on, we got Bulgari Tiger, and this fragrance should really just be a couple $100, but I recently saw this one on Neiman Marcus for like $3,700, which is insane. Now, what might be a little bit more crazy is this combination, because someone said Bulgari Tiger along with YSLY Tuxedo, perfection. Now, when I think about these fragrances together, Tuxedo is patchouli, rose, pepper, mysterious, and sensual. But Tiger, on the other hand, is a lot brighter. It has this grapefruit sparkle. It's fresh and energetic. And together, when you put these together, boom, we got something that is oh man, yeah buddy. Together, it's refined elegance and it's playful. And speaking of layering, if you're tired of smelling like everyone else, then check out the ultimate guide to fragrance layering, which is literally a guide of over 50 different combinations that are proven to work. That way you can win more with women and get more compliments without going out and spending a ton of extra money. So to this combo, bravo. You should have known that this next fragrance would make this list, and this is Louis Vuitton's Imagination. Like, this fragrance came up so many different times that I could not ignore it. Imagination is this overload of citrus. You have bergamot, lemon, ginger, and more sparkle than an iced out Rolex. This has ambroxan and black tea that allow it to feel fresh and still maintain this level of mysteriousness. At any rate, Imagination comes off as crisp and classy, and it's long lasting for what this is. So if you need a fragrance to help you feel a little bit more energetic, people say that this is the best. This is another fragrance that I was surprised to see on the list, but it's understandable. From Xerjoff, this is Torino 21. Torino 21 takes the notes of mint, lemon, and basil and mix them all together. And boom, what you get here is this mojito energy. Torino 21 actually gets a lot of love. I mean, it's lavender, it's rosemary, it's aromatic, but then there's also this musk and ambroxan that stays within the scent. Now, the very nature of this fragrance, you would expect it to be sporty, and it is. You would also expect it to be luxurious, which it is. Which just makes all more sense of why tennis is what this fragrance was built around. Moving on from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, we have Baccarat Rouge 540, the Extrait de Parfum. Now, this is the one that comes in a red bottle, so think of Baccarat Rouge 540 and make it amplified, wider, bigger, bolder, more dangerous than the original, but also a little bit more bitter. Look, the almond and saffron are fresh at the top of the scent, and it really gives you this sweet, nutty opening. And if you have the original, it's what you would come to expect. Now, there's also some jasmine within this fragrance and some cedar that slides on in. Whoa, wood sliding in. But there's also some ambergris. Together, you get this powdery, airy scent that's more in your face and amplified than the original. If you smelled this fragrance, you likely smelled a million clones of this one as well. It's loud and attention grabbing from across the room, and because of that, this one is a compliment monster. Moving on, we got another fragrance from Louis Vuitton, and this one is Ombre Nomad. Ombre Nomad is oud, leather, and raspberry. It's a winning combination. It's smoky, it's deep, it's royal. And don't get me wrong here, the opening on this fragrance is loud, but it's not like there's a megaphone. That said, it doesn't come across as overwhelming, but instead, this has this smoothness to the scent. And this might sound weird, but it almost smells textured. Now, what I will say is that you gotta be careful, because one spray too many and you're gonna send people running. If you get the sprays down pack on the scent, you can be legendary. But if you get them wrong, you can also be legendary there too. But I can't tell you what else is legendary. This is Layton Exclusif from Parfums de Marly. The Exclusif version takes everything you liked about the original and dials it up a bit. This one comes off as more charming than the original. It's darker than the original, but the apple and that lavender is still there. But there's also these coffee, oud, and other woods that make it a little richer, a little bit more smoky, and a lot more commanding. If Layton is king, then Layton Exclusif is the new improved heir to the throne. It's the fragrance that people are clapping for, waiting for the other one to croak and keel over. Just throw this one on if you're looking for some additional attention, because likely you're gonna get it. Moving on, also from MFK, we have Oud Satin Mood, and this fragrance is exactly what you would expect it to be. If you spray this fragrance on, you're gonna set a specific mood and tone about your day. Now, this is not your average oud scent. This one's smoother, hence the name. With this, you're gonna get rose, violet, and oud. And you get all of that wrapped up in this powdery sweetness. Now, in this fragrance, you're gonna get some vanilla and ambergris here, which give it this additional warmth and depth. For me, when it comes to MFK fragrances, Oud Satin Mood happens to be one of the big three. I'm talking Grand Soir, BR540, and of course, Oud Satin Mood. And depending on your mood, would really dictate which fragrance you aim for. I find this fragrance to be rich and sensual, but it's also grown up quite a bit. This one's not one you wear when you're playing the corner. This is the one that you wear when you're getting work done in the boardroom. Now, a lot of people find oud to be off-putting, but if you want something that's easier to wear, one that is wearable enough to still have a level of seduction, especially within the oud scent, this is it. Widely regarded as one of the sexier fragrances from the house, and on the market, you really can't go wrong, especially during the fall and winter. Also, let me tell you about another fragrance that I'm not surprised made this list, and this one is Lafayette St from Bon No. 9. This fragrance is great for everyday wear. It's clean, it's fresh, it's extremely pleasant, and overall, it has good performance. Now, what I will say is that the note breakdown is not particularly complex. You get some bergamot, you get some coriander, you get apples, vanilla, and Brox and tonka bean, as well as some ambergris within this fragrance. All of that together, you get this amber vanilla fragrance that has a nice amount of citrus and musky nuances, but it's also fresh enough to relieve some of the stress during a long day. Again, this is also another big three fragrance. If you're looking for scents from Bon No. 9, this is one of the ones you gotta smell, because we all know that Bon has a lot going on over there. So it might be a little more challenging to find one you like, unless you let me be a Toucan Sam and you follow my nose. Personally, I find this to be one of the better fragrances on the market, so not surprised it made this list. Excellent choice. Now, you want to know what got the most votes? It's not what you think. This fragrance comes from Rabanne, and this is Rabanne's 1 Million Lucky. Now, I was super surprised to see that this one had literally 100+ ounce because it's so good. Now, I'm a huge fan of this fragrance. I've purchased multiple bottles. I've given bottles of this away, and there's multiple bottles in my household between me and my kids. So let me tell you, they knew exactly what they were doing. Now, there continues to be rumors swirling about the discontinuation of this fragrance, and personally, I think that would be a huge mistake. Lucky is woody, it's sweet, it's nutty, and it's a fragrance that just checks so many boxes in a world full of fragrances that don't check boxes. The performance is there, the uniqueness is there, the likability is there, the compliment factor through the roof. And this fragrance plays in its own lane. On top of all of that, you get a price point that's not despicable. With plum, hazelnut, and honey, we've seen a lot of fragrances that are newer to the market begin to pull these facets in, but they don't do it quite like this. You wear this fragrance in public and women will be chasing you down in broad day with a flashlight. Literally, when this fragrance dropped, women online said this smelled like sex. Do what you will with it. So according to Instagram, these are the best fragrances on the market, but click here to see what happened when I asked 500 people if men should wear Baccarat Rouge 540.